Okay, so that's it. So this is what was planned for today. We were supposed to present 2 people. The person who was supposed to present with me, I think he's not here yet, but I'm sure he'll come before we get far. So let's start. So basically, I think we should start with an intro to Linux commands before doing what Git and GitHub is, because in order for you to use Git and GitHub, you must know some of these commands. We won't go deep into the commands themselves because this is just a beginner class, but then next time, maybe when now we start coding, we can talk about the rest. So that's why I put this as the first slide here. So what we'll study here are just some basic Linux commands, like how to delete a folder, create a folder. You're supposed to know how to work with man pages. You're supposed to know how to navigate with your system using the terminal, because I'm sure most of us here don't know how to use the terminal. Yeah, so you're supposed to know how to use the terminal, because in order to use Git and GitHub, you're supposed to know how to navigate using your terminal, because basically Git and GitHub, okay, there's a desktop version of it, but then from what I heard during the PLP learning session, I saw that most of the sessions are usually, most of the people actually like using the PowerShell terminal for those who are using Windows. Yeah, so for this I'm going to use Windows, and then I'll show you guys how to set up your Linux environment for those who like to use Linux. But even if you want to set it up today, I'm sure you'll still set it up, because it's usually compulsory. Yeah, so let us I'll just escape and come to my terminal before we continue. So can you guys see my PowerShell here?
Yes.
Just say yes, and then you can continue. I guess somebody has said yes. Yeah, so this is just the default Windows PowerShell. There's nothing special about this one. Any person who wants to use this, just go to your Windows PowerShell and open it up. Yeah, as you can see, Microsoft Windows PowerShell. So I've not installed anything here. So I'll show you like 3 to 4 commands, and then I will head over to GitHub, and then now start that, because I'm sure most of us just want to know what Git and GitHub is. So for example here, so I want you guys to see something here at this other side here. I have some certain folders here in my desktop here. So I want you guys to look closely to this desktop tab here. So the first thing here, the first command I want to teach you is called ls. So the ls command is usually used when you want to list all files available in your system. ls, that's the first command. Usually use it when you want to know how many files or what is available in your system. Use the ls command. To get all files, it has certain flags. You can use the flag L. It has many. Okay, I don't think it will work on Windows, so I think maybe we'll do that on another session. Yeah, so to clear the screen, you just use clear. ls to list all files available in your system, clear to clear your system. Now let me just say ls all over again. So now I want us to head over to our desktop so that you can see what I want to tell you here. So as you can see the desktop here, we have a desktop here. Where is it? Here. This is the desktop here. So I want to enter this desktop. So I'll use cd. This is another command called cd, change directory. So a directory is just a folder. So in case you hear me saying directory, just now I'm talking about a folder. So to head over into a folder, you just use cd. So just means change directory into now desktop. Yeah, so as you can see, let me clear my screen. In case I'm going too fast or I'm too slow, just feel free to let me know. This is a PLD. Feel free to ask any questions you have. Interrupt me as many times as you want. Yeah, so as you can see, I've just changed my directory. Now I'm inside the desktop folder. Folder directory is just the same thing. Yeah, you'll hear most nerds, software engineers, will just hear them using desktop. You just hear them using directory, but then it's just the same thing. Desktop folder, same thing. So in order, before I continue, because if I ls here, I'll see I have these folders. You can see there's a folder called Noteshare, Portfolio, Revision, Save, GitHub, Part 1, Group 3, Group Learning Repo. And if you come to my desktop here, you'll see all of them here. So you can see a folder called Noteshare, Group 3, Revision, Google Ads, Safe Mythal, as trial, everything here. So everything that is here, it's just here. So what I want you to know here is that this desktop is this desktop here. So in order you to go back to where you are, you just use cd and then two full colon. So it takes you back to one directory behind. So if you want to go to a directory, use cd and then the directory name. If you want to go back to the directory in which you are, use cd space and then two full colon. Don't forget about that. So far we have learned about 3 commands. ls, which is used to list files. We have used clear. So the clear is just used to clear your screen. So in case you're using the Windows and then you decided not to use PowerShell and use the command prompt, clear won't work on there, but then you can just use cls. Yeah, cls will still work. Yeah, as you can see, clear and cls.
Sorry, Ahmed.
Yeah, sure. Just tell me.
Hello?
Yeah.
Sorry. Testing. Like for the commands.
Okay.
Do you have somewhere where they are listed in ls is to list, cd change directory? If you want to go back, you use cd. I don't know. You said what and a colon or something.
Okay. What I'll do after this session, I'll just share a page where you'll see most of the most commonly used commands. I think that will be better.
Okay.
Yeah, so after we are done, I'll just share that. Okay, so don't forget about those commands because they're really going to be very important once we start. So I'll just now continue. So and then one good thing with using Windows is, notice that if I use desktop with a capital D, it still works. If I go back and use still desktop again with a small d, desk with a small d, it still works. But then in Linux, while you're using Ubuntu, that won't work. But then in Windows, it can still work. So as you can see here, so now what we want to do is to create. So let me just clear and then I'll show you. So what we want to do here is create a new folder, which is a directory.
Actually, we are not seeing your screen. The screen you're working on.
Yeah, you can't see my screen.
You can't see it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So as I was saying, in Windows, cd desktop and cd with a capital D and a small d is still the same thing. Yeah, so it's still the same thing. So don't forget about that. So now we want to create a folder. I'll just use folder because we're using Windows. So to create a folder, use the command mkdir, which says make directory. So now you get to yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Just sure.
Ahmed, sorry. Yeah. You're using Windows PowerShell, right?
Yeah, PowerShell. Just the normal PowerShell.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what if it's GP?
Pardon. So what? Okay. What's the type of laptop you're using? What's your type? What's that laptop?
HP. Just HP.
Yeah, and the default operating system is Windows.
I'm using HP.
Yeah. Okay. It's HP. The brand is HP, but then the default operating system is
64.
No. I've never heard of an operating system called 64. I think. Okay.
I mean, Windows.
Yeah, if you're using Windows, you can just use this PowerShell or maybe the command prompt.
It has a.
Yeah. Pardon, you're breaking.
I mean, I can see a window PowerShell in my PC here. What I was asking is that on the session that we had this morning and the other one in the afternoon, they were demonstrating about when you're trying to do those commands by using GT. So that's what I was asking. Like right now, you're using a PowerShell, so it's the same thing as GT, right?
It's the same thing. The commands don't change.
Okay.
Yeah, the only difference is in Windows, there are certain commands that won't work. But then when using GT or maybe the Linux, the Ubuntu's terminal, all commands will work. That's the only difference. But then the commands themselves don't change.
Okay.
Yeah. So for those who attended the session in the morning and the evening, I'm sure you saw something like this: make directory. This is used to create a folder. So now the directory we want to create here is called, let's call it PLD1, PLP1. Yeah, let's just call it that way. As you can see, it's saying it has been created in the desktop. So if you come here, you can see it's PLP1. It has been created. It's really simple and it's really fast. So that's why I prefer using this. So now we'll head over into now PLP1, just CD and then over inside. And then if I clear, if I ls, it's empty right now. Those are just the commands that we're going to use for this session. We won't use a lot of commands for this, is just a starter session. So in case you are lost somewhere, feel free to let us know before we continue on these commands only, because these are the commands we are going to use for this session only. I'm not saying these are the only commands, but for this session we are only going to use this. I think there are just four commands there. So
right. For the
pardon, in case you are
of those who are joining right now, can you summarize like how did you use, I mean, for the benefit of those who are joining right now, can you summarize like what commands did you use and how many of them are we going to use so far in the lessons to come?
Okay, so so we have talked about ls. This is the first command we have talked about, which is used to list all files available. We have talked about another command called cd, which is usually used to go back to the directory in which we were in before. So at the moment we are inside the folder called PLP1. So when we want to go back to the desktop folder now, we just use cd and then 2 full colon. Okay, 2 full stop full colon, depends what you English. So I just say full stop, cd, change directory, and then space, and then 2 full colon, and then press enter. You'll go back. So as you can see, the first one is ls, the second one is cd, 2 full stops, and then now I'm inside the desktop. We've also talked about another command called mkdir, which is just make directory, and I prefer you guys using them as list files. Don't just say ls. If you want to use it and understand it better, just say list files, change directory, make directory. There's also another one called, but we're not going to talk about, remove directory. This one is used to delete a folder, but then in Windows it won't work. In Windows the only one that works is remove, but then remove directory in Windows doesn't work. But then we are not going to talk about that, and we are not going to use about that. So list files, going back one directory behind, cd space 2 full stops, and then creating a directory, make directory. Also another thing we have talked about is cd, change directory. So if you want to go into directory, you just say cd and then the directory you want to go in. So like ls, if I ls here, so previously we were inside now this directory called PLP1. So you want to go to PLP1, just say cd and then PLP1, just like that, and I'm inside this folder. So I was saying, for those who are using the PowerShell but then now are using the command prompt, there's PowerShell and then the command prompt. If you're using the command prompt, clear won't work. Clear like this won't work. You just use cls, still means clear, but then it won't work. It won't work there. I don't know why. So that's why I'm saying use the PowerShell. Yeah, so I think those are just the commands we are going to use here. There are not so many. So anyone who is lost, before we continue? Anyone? Okay, let's continue. Now the next thing here is to do what? Okay, let me present this full screen. Yeah, so I know we have not talked about man pages, but then we'll do that in a minute. Don't worry about the man pages. So now, what is GitHub? Yeah, so for those who joined the session, I usually like an interactive session. So for those who joined the morning session and the evening session, who can tell us what GitHub is? Feel free. Anyone can just speak your mind or from how you understood it. Anyone? Anyone? Feel free. Just feel free. Okay, let me just continue because of time. So I like explaining GitHub this way. This is not the definition, you'll find it online, but then for beginners or for people who are not into tech and then they ask me what GitHub is, I usually just tell them GitHub is a place where we store our code. So you can just say GitHub is a library where developers store their code. That's the simplest term you can ever use, because basically if you look at GitHub is a place where you will store your code, your assignments, your project ideas. After you're done with this project, after you're done with this program, you get a job, a software engineering job, you'll still use GitHub and you'll store your code to GitHub. So that's why I usually say GitHub is just a library where we store our code. The same way you can go to a library and find books there, when you go to GitHub you'll find code there. So hope we're together there. Next, what is Git? Because there's Git and GitHub. If you look at this name here, GitHub, you can see it's two names, Git and GitHub. So don't mix the two. Git and GitHub are two different things. GitHub is just the library where we store our code. But then now Git, you can say just Git is a road where it leads us to where we have stored our code. I hope we are together up to there. GitHub is where we store our code, but then now Git is what enables us to reach GitHub. So you can just say it's a road, because without Git we can't get to GitHub. The same way you usually go to your browser and then type in, maybe when you want to go to Google and maybe you want to search for a movie, yeah, so you go to GitHub and then search for the movie you want. So you'll go to Google, the Google search page, and then search for the project you want, or maybe if it's a movie or if it's a song, you just go to Google and then search for it there. So, and then Google takes you, now brings the results. So now without Git there's no way for us to put our code to GitHub. Okay, you'll hear some people saying no, but then there's the GitHub desktop, and also you can go to GitHub and upload our code from there directly. But then I usually tell them that's a lot of work, because now imagine you're working on a project with two people, or maybe it's me and another partner. Yeah, it was called, let me just confirm the name. Yeah, the name was Carl. So maybe I'm working on a project with Carl, and then we decide that we are going to use the same repo. So he adds me as a collaborator and we are sharing the repo. So how will I track what he's doing so that I don't do it? That's where now Git comes in. So Git is a version control, so it helps us maintain our code. So for example, today I've coded the landing page where users usually come when they want to go to my project. So, and then tomorrow I want to continue from the landing page, so I'll git add my code, commit and push it to GitHub. So tomorrow when I want to continue, it will tell me this is where you reached yesterday, or maybe this is what you did. So maybe now tomorrow I want to code again, I want to now to continue the landing page, but then I realize I made a mistake somewhere, and then I delete that code. When I push it to GitHub and my partner comes in, Carl will come, and then he'll notice that also day 1 Ahmed posted this, and then day 2 he deleted this. The reason for why he deleted this is the commit message. The commit message is what will tell him why I deleted that. So I hope I'm not confusing anyone. Git is a version control. It helps us maintain our code. for the changes, things like that. And it's still the same thing that will enable us to push our code to GitHub. So GitHub and Git is really important. There are some other things you'll hear people saying GitLab. Yeah, it's still the same as GitHub. Just the same way there's Samsung, there's Apple, there's Realme, there's Redmi. Still, that's why you'll hear GitHub, GitLab, Bucket Lab, something. I think it's Bucket Lab. Yeah. So, but then all of them are still the same thing. But then for Git, I don't think I've ever had something an alternative for Git, but we'll still research on that. Yeah, those are the slides I prepared. So now let's just get to the practical part. So the first thing here I want us to do is I'll assume that nobody has set up this. So first thing first, I'll need you to head over to GitHub. Want you to head over to GitHub. Just come into your browser, or let me not use autocomplete. So I just want you to come to your browser here and then just search github.com. Yeah, I don't want this. Just search github.com, nothing else. I don't want to use autocomplete, just want to show you what. Okay, I already have an account, that's why you are seeing this. But then in case you don't have an account, you are going to see something different. You are going to be prompted, you're going to see GitHub login page. Yeah, you're only seeing this because you already have an account. But then for those who don't have an account, if you go to your browser and search github.com, you're going to see GitHub, and then you go to the option of sign up for those who don't have an account. So you'll just sign up, and then after signing up, you're going to get the same page like this one now. But then now the difference is you don't have any code here, but then you still get the same code, the same page. So this will be your username. So please make sure you are very keen on the username, because most people usually put a random username and they forget. Also make sure you put a password that you'll remember easily. One last thing, make sure you put a secure password, because most people nowadays, okay, I've heard of a virus that is used to explore post Git subs. It has not reached me yet, but just put a secure password. Don't forget the username and password. Those are the two most important things. So after doing that, we'll come back here. We'll need another software also called Git. So for Git, just come to your browser still again and just search for Git download. If you search for Git download, you're going to come to a page like this. This is what I wanted. So if you come to a page like this, it depends with your laptop. So for those who are using Windows, click on the Windows and then choose which version of your machine. Is it a 64-bit or is it a 32-bit? So you're the one who's going to choose there. So if it's a 32-bit, choose the 32-bit. If it's a 64-bit, choose the 64-bit. Please don't download the portable. Just download the standalone installer, 64-bit setup, and then install it. After downloading it, because you just download it here, you can't install it from here. Okay. So let me do this one. So just a minute on that. So after doing that, go to your downloads and install the file that you have downloaded. Don't forget about that. If you forget about that, it won't work. In order for you to get the same output that we'll get, you must first of all install the two softwares. Okay, just Git, because GitHub, it's not necessary for you to install GitHub. Just create the account. So after doing that, you'll come to your downloads, and then after coming.
Sorry, Ahmed.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Remember to connect your PC to power plug, because it might shut down.
Yeah, actually I'm just connecting right now. So just a minute. it will shut down. So don't forget about that, guys. So GitHub, so set up the account, and then for Git, you download the version in which you want. So if your machine is a 64-bit, download the 64-bit. If your machine is a 32-bit, download the 32-bit. Yeah, download the 32-bit, and then after that, install it. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Okay, sure.
You said for GitHub. Have you? My network cut me off at some time. So I'm asking for GitHub. You said we don't need to download.
Yeah, don't download GitHub. Just set up the account.
Have you explained how we set it up, or because I missed some point at some point?
Okay, so just setting it up is easy. So basically, all you just have to do is just come to your browser and then search for. Yeah, let me just use here. GitHub. Yeah, then search for github.com. Just search for github.com like that. So I don't want the installation. I just want github.com. Yeah, so this is the page I want you to come. So after searching github.com, if you don't have an account, you are going to be brought this page. So after coming to this page, just say join GitHub. After saying join GitHub, let it load. After saying join GitHub, you'll see. Okay, for my case, you're seeing this page because you already have an account. But in case I didn't have an account, it would have prompted me to create an account. So you'll just input your username, password, and verify that you are a human being. Nothing else. After that, just sign in and then leave it open. Just say remember me. Choose the option for remember me so that you don't have to input your password every time while you're using it. That's that. And then install Git. So after installing Git, now we'll come here. Now to GitHub back again. So let me just cut this because I already had another page open. So let me mute this. Yeah, so you'll see now after doing those two things, you'll get this page after you've already created an account. So after creating an account, when you want to create a new repo, you come here. You'll see this plus sign here. So use this plus sign here to create a new repo. So when you want to create a new repo, you just come here, press that plus sign. Yeah, so just
sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Can you tell us briefly what is repo?
What is a repo? Okay, repo. Okay. I wanted to show you so that you can get it better, because basically a repo is just a folder, it's just a directory where our code lives. The same we usually have. Let me go back here. The same we usually have a folder. The same we usually have a folder here in Windows that has files. Is the same way a repo contains now your code. Now the repo is where the code is usually stays. So does that make sense?
Okay, someone said repo is an online folder. It makes sense. Yeah, sure.
So it's the same thing, just the same thing. Yeah, I just wanted to show you here. I wanted to clone the repo and then you'll see what I mean. Because if we clone the repo and it comes here in our desktop, you'll see that it is just a folder. So if we clone the repo here, so up to now we only have one. We have created this folder called PLP1. But then now we are going to create a repo and then clone it. After cloning it, we'll see it here. So let us just continue so that you can see about that. So okay, what is this one over? Okay, I think it's because I already have another one. Okay, so if you want to create a new repo, you just come here and then just type the plus sign and then say new repo. So after doing that, you're going to get this page. You're going to get a page like this one. So just give it a minute. Let me just decrease some of this. Faster. Yeah, so after doing that, after pressing now this plus sign, you are going to get this page here. So this page basically says just giving the details of your repo. Yeah, so like here you're going to give the repo name. So in our case, let's call it PLP2, because we already have PLP1. So as you can see, it's saying PLP is available. So in case you give a name here and then it says PLP is not available, so let me do this. Let me start with one. I want a name. Let me just use hash to see if hash is going to be allowed. Oh yeah, but then just the repository name cannot be blank, so just give any name. But sometimes the names, if I give it a name of a repo that is already here, it's going to say no. But for the meantime, it is allowed, so it means I don't have another repo called PLP2 here. So you're supposed to give it a description, but then this is usually compulsory. Personally, I never give the repo a description. It's usually go, and then you're supposed to choose, is it a public repo that you want to create or a public repo? Mostly a public repo is a repo that any person who comes to your profile, to your GitHub page, will see it. Well, a private repo is a repo that nobody will be able to see it unless you give him permission to see it. That's the difference. But then for our case, just be creating the public one. Don't add anything else. Don't add a readme. Usually you will add this one in our code editor. Nothing else here. So just public and then the name, create repo. Don't forget about that one. And then now say create repository. So I'm creating it. So after creating it, you'll get this page here. So as you can see here, this is my GitHub username, and then this is the repo we have created. If you follow the same thing we are doing here, you'll get the same output. Yeah. So in case now you want to work with a partner, this is where now you will invite him or her as a collaborator. In case you just want to work alone, now you'll just continue. So now, if you want to clone this repo in your file, in your system, now you just come and take this link here. Just copy paste. Just copy here, and then come here, and then now come to your terminal. I don't want to create it here inside this PLP1. Just cd. So as you can see, now I only have PLP1 here. So let me clone it. So git clone, and then paste that link. So let's give it a minute. So it's saying cloning into PLP2. So this is a new.
Sorry, you said cloning is that command for cloning is for
git clone. So git clone is used to take a repository from a remote site to our system. So you can just say git clone is basically just a way of saying I'm borrowing this book, but then I'll return it. Do you get that?
Okay.
Yeah. So git clone. So as you can see, this is a new command. This is another command. So git clone. So git space clone, and then now that link. The link we have pasted is here, from here. So you have just taken this link, we have created the repo, and then now we have been brought this page, and then we have taken the link. So you have just copied here, or in case you don't want to do that, you can just copy it from here. So copy. After copying here, come to your terminal and then git clone. So if I git clone it right now, it's going to say the repo already exists, git clone. So as you can see, it's saying the destination path PLP2 already exists, and it's not an empty directory because it's there. Okay, while you're cloning for the first time, you'll see warning, you appear to have cloned an empty repository. Don't worry about that. It's because it's empty. You have not done anything here. As you can see, it's still empty. That's why it was saying that. So if you come here, this is what I wanted to show you. So as you can see, as I was saying, so this is the repo PLP2. So we created the repository called PLP2. So after cloning it into desktop, you can see PLP2 here. So basically, just understand that a repo is just a directory. It's just a fancy name for a directory or a folder. Same thing, different concepts. Just the same way, like we are all people, but then some people are from Nigeria, some people are from Kenya, some people are from Ghana. Yeah, we are all still people. That's the same thing. It's still a folder, just that it's a repository in GitHub. It's a directory for Unix based systems. I think also for Mac OS. Anyone who is using Mac OS here, do you call it a folder too, or maybe a directory? Maybe let us know about that later. Yeah, basically that's that. So we have cloned it. Okay, we'll need something else here. We'll need a new software now. So the next software here that we'll need, okay, first of all, let us go into that. Let us go into, so we are changing the directory now into PLP2. Hope nobody is lost. So now let me clear. So if we were less at the meantime, it's empty because we have not done anything here. Empty, empty, empty. So now we want to start working on this one. In order to start working, we'll need a code editor. So the code editor I recommend, because I know it's really good, is just called Visual Studio Code. So just come here into your browser and search for Visual Studio Code, and then press enter. After doing that, you're going to be brought to this page. Note, guys, there are usually two versions of this. You'll see this one that has, I think this is a green color, the green icon, and then you'll see another one that has, let me see, there are usually two. This is the best one. Use this one. The other one is usually not Visual Studio. Okay, let me just say Visual Studio, if it's going to come. Visual Studio. Okay, still can't see it, but I'm sure somebody will see it. It surely has a blue color. I think, yeah, it usually looks like this blue color here. Don't take that one, just take this one that has a green color, Visual Studio Code. Yeah, this one is the best one here, Visual Studio Code, and this one is the one that I'm using right now. It's just easy. Just say download, and then so after just pressing this download option, it will just start downloading. Okay, yeah, I think okay. You're going to be asked which version you want. So for those who are using MacBooks, choose the MacBook option. For those who are using Windows 10 or 11, just use this. In case you're using below Windows 10, just upgrade your Windows. Yeah, today I met somebody who is using Windows 7. Please, in case you're using Windows 10, just upgrade to Windows 11. Or in case you still try and find that it's working, good for you. So 3 softwares now, 2 softwares. So in GitHub, just create an account, download Git, the 64-bit. I know most people here are using 64-bit, so download for 64-bit, and then come to Visual Studio Code and download it too. If you download, you're going to get an installer and then install it. After installing it, come back to your terminal. Don't open it, just come back to your terminal after installing it, and make sure you have installed it after this terminal is closed. In case it's still open, you are going to get an error. Yeah, so in case you hear some sound, it's raining here. So after doing that, you are going to come here. So I actually want to create a new folder here. I usually don't like working in this folder, but then we can still work on that, but I don't prefer that. So the first thing here I want us to do is open Visual Studio Code, but then before that, let us create make directory. Let's just create a new folder called now we are inside PLP2, the repo we created. So we just want to create, let's say project 1, or let me just call it week 1, and then cd into week 1. Yeah, so now
Ahmed,
yes,
these directories and commands you and the commands you are making, you can either do it through PowerShell or through Git.
Okay, yeah, you can still use Git. After downloading Git, you can use Git bash. It's called Git bash. After downloading it, you'll have the
Git bash. Yeah,
Git bash. You can use Git bash.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, but then personally, I usually like using this. But then, okay, you can use Git bash too. It's allowed. So I'll do this using this, and then I'll do this again using Git bash so that you can see it's still the same thing. So now, let me open now Visual Studio Code. To open Visual Studio Code after downloading it, just type code and then space and then full colon, and then type enter. Code space full stop, and then type enter. So it's loading. So it just load for a while, and then Visual Studio Code is going to be opened. As you can see, it has loaded without an error. So now, as you can see, my cursor is loading. So just give it a minute. Yeah, so it's opening. You can see here, it's here. So to open Visual Studio Code, really simple. The command is code space full stop enter. And I'm not saying that using just code alone won't work.
Just repeat that command for opening Visual Studio Code.
Code space and then full stop. Code space and then full stop. And let me clarify something here on that. Using code alone, it will still work. The difference, the only thing I don't usually like using code alone, because using code alone will open all. Well, let me just show you, instead of telling you, let me just show you that. So I've opened, now we have opened Visual Studio Code using code and then space full stop. So after doing that, as you can see, it has only opened the directory or the folder that we were in, because as in this terminal here, we are inside week 1. So that, as you can see here in this directory here in VS, you can see the folder that has been opened here is just week 1. Let me cut this one and let me just use code and then full stop so that you can see the difference. Yeah, so now look at the difference here. The difference between use code, full stop, and then just code without the full stop. So let me see. Okay, it's not supposed to, let me just do this. CD, sorry about that. So CD into week 1. Yeah, but then I think okay, let me just say code. Even if VA is doing this, I'm sure if you do it in your end, you'll get what I mean. You'll get, instead of getting the directory you are in, you'll get a list of all directories available there. So usually just use code space full colon, and you'll thank me later. Personally, I don't like using this because I tried it several times and then I used to get complications. So nowadays I just use code space and then full stop, and then Vscode, it opens. So after doing that, so now this is the software itself. So we have already downloaded this. We have already downloaded Visual Studio Code. We have downloaded Git, and then we have set up GitHub. Nothing else. So now here, Visual Studio Code also has a terminal. To open the terminal for Visual Studio Code in Windows, you just do Ctrl-J, and then you see it here. So now, after opening VS Code, you don't have to go back to the Windows PowerShell again to type in your commands. You can just use this integrated terminal in VS. It's still the PowerShell terminal. Yeah, as you can see here, PowerShell. So in case you're using something else, so while now we are pushing our work, you're going to see something here is changing. So you'll see once in a while saying Git and then coming back to GitHub, coming back to PowerShell. So look at this, mark this PowerShell here. So just let it, we'll use it later, not now. So now let's create a new folder here. Don't worry about this in case you don't understand what I'm doing here. The basics here, we are just doing the basics of Git and GitHub. So this is not a web development class, so I'm not going to explain what I'm doing here. Yes, code. Sorry, it's supposed to be doc. Okay, let the extension doc. Yeah, this is why I usually don't like that. Yeah, okay, there are two options to get this, but I think we'll touch on this during when we start doing web development. You can use code, you can use an exclamation mark, and you can use also this backstick, but we're not on that. So this is, let me just week 1, just a title, and inside the body I'll just say, let's give it hello family. C is not that hard. Yeah, so
Ahmed,
yes.
what is that you are creating there?
Okay, I'm not, this is just to show you. We are still doing an introduction to Git and GitHub. This is just the code that will push to GitHub so that you can see that it's working. So we are not learning about this one. Don't worry about this one.
Okay.
Yeah, but then this is just a boilerplate for HTML. So every time you just type an exclamation mark and then type enter, you'll get this boilerplate. So in order to get, okay, this is an extension called Live Server. So in order to install the extension called Live Server, you just come here to the extensions and then just type Live Server. If you want, and then if you just type live and then server like that. Oh, no, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be 2 words. Yeah. So yeah, if you just type Live Server, you're going to get, it's usually the first extension up there, and then install it, the first one, and then you'll get this one here. So basically Live Server just allows us to see our output of our code in real time. So usually enables us to see what we are coding. So anything I change here, you'll see there in a minute. So if maybe add a h2 saying this is what will push, what we are going to push, you'll see it here. This is what you're going to push. So the Live Server extension is what enables us to get this, but then we'll talk more on that when we start doing web development, so don't worry about that one. So in case maybe you want to get, so as you can see here my files, if it's a HTML file, you'll see it has this fancy funny icon here. In case you want that icon too, you can come and install it. I guess it's called, yeah, it's called iconic, yeah, iconic, yeah, something like that. But we'll talk more on that when we start doing development, so don't worry about that one. Yeah, so let us continue. So this is what we'll push to GitHub so that we can see something here, because we'll have to push something. We can't leave it like this, it's going to be boring. So at the moment, even if I refresh, let me refresh this page, we'll see that we are still getting nothing. We still, because we have not pushed anything. You have created the repo, but you don't have anything. It's like you have just created the folder, but then you have not put anything there. It's an empty folder. It's useless. So let us push something. So now, in order for you to push something, these are the commands that we use. So for this, we're going to use 3 commands. And I want you to see something here. Below this index.html here, you can see a file here saying u. So this u basically says it's untracked. It's not yet to GitHub. So in case of any change here, Git won't be able to tell you that this is what you had added previously and this is what you have changed. So don't forget about that. So now, in order to start now making it to be tracked, you'll say git add. This is a new command. So there are 2 options for this add. You can use a full stop. A full stop is usually used to say add everything that is in this directory. So it will work. If you say git add with a full stop, it's going to work. Now after saying git add, as you can see, it is saying now it has been added. Previously it was untracked, but now it's
so
saying, yeah.
Sorry, what is the reason to track it?
The reason to track it is so that in case of a change, Git will tell us. So previously you had coded this, and then now you have implemented something new. So basically that's the importance, because let me just show you something else here. Let me try adding a new file here. Maybe a p tag saying, okay, I don't know why. I think my internet is slightly slow today. So let's test this. Let me just say that. So after I've just added a new paragraph here saying let's test this. As you can see here, now the add has been changed to m. M is saying modified. So it's saying, so you have modified your code. It is not as you have left as it was earlier. Now you have added something different. So basically you have just modified it. So Git is keeping track of our code for us. I don't have to keep in mind that previously I had just did 2 headings, but then now I've added a new paragraph. So remembering all of that is a lot of work. So that's why they developed Git. So Git does that for us. It's like saying it remembers what we've done for us. Yeah, I think that will be easier. So every time you modify it, you'll still have to git add again. So I was saying, so the first one I'm saying you can git add and then space full stop for adding everything. And also you can say git add and then with the file that you want to add. Yeah. So for those who joined
So
the
Ahmed,
yes.
Ahmed, I can see up there you're using HTML.
Yeah, this is just
You,
HTML.
you're coding.
Yes.
But you didn't introduce it. I don't know.
Okay.
I was.
No, we are not. This is not a web development session. This is just a session on
Oh,
Git and
oh,
GitHub.
okay.
Yeah. So I want us to know how to navigate between Git and GitHub so that now when we start actually coding, it's going to be easier. But then don't worry about this one. We are going to do this one too, but not today. But we are going to do this. So don't worry about this one. So I was saying, so if you want to add all files you're working on, you say git add and then full stop. If you want to add a specific file, you say git add and then the name of the file you want to add. In our case here, maybe we want to say index.html. We want only to add index.html. So for those who joined the morning and afternoon session today, am I right for doing this, or am I supposed to put this between speech marks, in between speech marks? So which is which? Anyone who joined the morning session can help me with this one here. So which is which? Should I put it between speech marks or should I leave it just like that? Anyone?
You use the quotation.
Why quotation? And it's a file that is already there. Remember, I'm not saying you are wrong. I'm just asking. I just want to know. I'm not saying you are wrong. So just let me know why you think I'm supposed to do that. Yeah. We're supposed to test ourselves. Challenge me, challenge you. So why are you supposed to do that? Because maybe I'm wrong and I don't know. And maybe you're wrong and I don't know. So which is which? I'll mention a name because nobody is saying anything. Let me mention a name before we continue. So let me just say, let me see. Brenda. Hey Brenda. Hello Brenda. Okay, I'll assume it's the internet, is some internet connection. Let me say Cynthia. Hello Cynthia. Okay, sorry. So okay, in case you're talking, just continue. Yeah.
Yeah, some of us are new to these things and we don't have the background of anything regarding
Tech.
IT. So, yes, so
Okay.
we're just new, like we don't know anything about that. So
That's why I started by saying, for those who joined the morning session, that's why I started.
I was there. I was there even in the morning session, but it was very confusing. The
Okay, so
lecturer was very confusing. I even took the afternoon session. It was even more confusing. So
okay. So let me just continue. For today's session, I won't mention any name, but then next session during the next PLD,
for
I'll start
beginners,
mentioning
like
names.
they were kind of sessions like for people who have knowledge like you know.
Okay, but
So
then
for beginners, it was kind of hard.
don't worry. That's why we started this PLD. We'll learn together here and grow together. So don't worry about that. So now, so I hope okay. I hope I've not confused anyone here. So in order to add all files. So in case I had another file here called maybe index.js. So in case I had another file called index.js and then maybe just say console.log. messy hello world. Don't worry about all this, we're going to talk about this here. So in case now we have another also file called maybe index.css, and then maybe I say something like let me just try styling something here, h2. Let me just give the h1 style of background color, h1. So let me just give it a color of blue. Yeah, so I've just given the h1 a color of blue. So if you come here, okay, oh, have not linked it, sorry, let me link it. Don't worry about this, we're going to do this together. So index, the file itself is index.css. Yeah, so now if you come here and you see it's blue, so I've given the h1 a color of blue, so I've just tell the color to be blue. So now I want to do this. So now I want to just say git add and then index.html only, so that not that one, yeah, so that you'll see what I mean here. So if I do this, you'll see index.html has been added, but then the rest are still new, as you can see here. So both of them still work, but then using git add and then the file name is a lot of work compared to just saying git add and then full stop. But then if I just say git and then add and then full stop, everything will be added. You can see the index.css now has been added, the index.js also has been added. So let's tell you guys, when you're working, just be using git add and then space full stop. It's going to make your work easier compared to just saying git add and then the file name. So don't forget about that one. So now something else, a new command here, git commit. So now we have added our files, yeah, but then now I need a commit message, so that the commit message is basically tells now the people who come to our repo that I pushed a file called index.html, and inside index.html this is what I did. So now, because you won't be there every time to tell every person that comes to your repo that this file has this and this, we usually put a git commit message, so that every person who comes there, when he just clicks on our repo, he is going to see that, oh, so index.html was pushed and then the commit message was this. So in our case here, you can say git message, so git commit, and then give it a flag of m. So this flag of m is the one that gives the message itself. So we can say this is our first class of an introduction to Git and GitHub, to Git and GitHub. Yeah, this is a first class on an introduction to Git and GitHub. Let me say, don't worry about the files themselves. Yeah, just like that. As you can see, it's saying after doing this, as you can see, now I want you guys to understand something here. Putting the git add after using the command git add and then now full stop, all the files I usually just say, you'll see an AAA here above the index.css, index.html, or maybe in case you're doing a Python project, you see above the Python file it's saying added. But then after doing the git commit, you won't see anything here. You won't see anything here because it's already been committed. It's something that you have already done. So even if you won't push it, it's still available on your machine. It has been stored somewhere. So one day when you decide to push, everything will be pushed together. I don't know if we are all together up to here, or maybe somebody is behind. In case of that, just feel free. This is a peer learning session, so we are all together.
I think.
Okay, sure. Continue.
Okay. For me, we are not. Maybe this. But there are things I've understood up to the moment.
Okay, let me start.
I can now understand the difference between Git, GitHub, and Vscode.
So what
Pardon?
are you not understanding?
Now, maybe part of linking, like you are linking a file. There's something you took from GitHub to Git. I don't know. You are linking some repository or something.
No. I've not linked anything. All I've just done was I came here. Let me. I can just do that. This is just a learning session. So I just came here after creating the repo. So up to creating the repo, you are okay there, right?
Yes, that one I'm okay with.
Okay. Let me just see. Can you just tell me your name?
Dennis.
Okay, Dennis. Okay. So creating the repo, you're okay. Cloning the repo, are you okay with cloning the repo?
Cloning, I'm not okay.
Okay, to clone the repo is just simple. We have already created the repo, and now we get this page because we have not pushed anything. So by default, this is the page you are always going to see after creating a new repo. So now, after creating the repo, you just come here and copy this only here, HTTPS. This is the link to your repo. You're just supposed to copy this link. So you can press this two here, this one, click, or you can also just come here, highlight this all from HTTPS up to Git, and then just say copy, and then come to your terminal and then just say Git, use the Git and then clone command, and then type the link, and then now paste the link, and then after pasting the link, press enter. Yes, pardon. Up to here.
So okay, after copying that link, that yes, that one I'm okay with. Now you can do this from PowerShell or from Git.
Yeah. Yes, from PowerShell or from Git. Okay, let me, because I've already done
it's
this.
The same thing.
PowerShell. It's still the same thing. Let me use Git. Let me use Git so that you can see also. So let me open Git from here. Let me just open Git here so that you'll also see it's still the same thing. So show more options. Yeah, so in Git is usually called Git bash. So I'm going to open Git bash. If you want to use Git bash, so you say open Git bash here. So I've just right clicked in my desktop and then said more options and then say Git bash here. In case you don't want to do that, you can just come here to your search bar and then search Git. If you search Git here, you are going to get this here. So and then just say open. Either of the two is still going to work. So this is what you are going to see after opening it. Let me maximize this. So this is what you are going to see after now opening it. So if you ls still, it's the same thing here, the same thing that you got from with the list files in the Windows PowerShell. It's the same thing you'll get here. If I want to go
sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, Ahmed. You have opened Git, right?
GitHub, Git.
Git.
Yes.
And I see there on your screen it is written.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is just this is the username of my laptop.
Okay, it's the username of your laptop. Huh?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Continue.
Okay. So
I'll ask you. Just continue. I'll ask you along the way. Just continue.
Okay, let me clear this. Okay, sorry about that. Let me clear. So as you can see, all the commands that you have used in PowerShell are still working in Git. One advantage of this one here, in Git you can use the remove directory command, unlike in Windows. So in case, for example, in Windows here, let me just go back here. Let me do this. Let me delete this and go back one directory behind. So ls. Let me also go back one here. So now let's say we want to delete this folder called PLP1. So in here, the command to remove that one is remove directory, the Unix command, and then now the directory name, so PLP1. But then if you do that, Wow, you're so lucky. Okay, I think it only, let me do this. I think it only denies when it has some files inside. So let's see. Okay, I think I know the reason to why it was denying me the first time. Unless if it's empty, it's going to be allowed. If it's not empty, it's going to be denied. Let me show you the example of that. CD into desktop. It's clear. CVLS here. So let me say I want to remove a folder called not share. So remove directory called not share. So let me see. Okay, I don't want that. I can say that and then remove dif. So remove directory. And let me see a directory called portfolio project. Yeah. Let me remove this. So yes. As you can see, this is what it usually says. So if you try to delete a folder that has some files inside using the Linux command remove directory, you usually get these errors here. But then if it's empty, you won't get an error. So if it's empty, you won't get an error. So as you can see, I didn't know that because usually I just tried it using a file that already a folder that has some files inside, and then it denied. So I didn't think that it's supposed to be empty. So but then in Git bash, if you do that in Git bash, it's still going to be deleted. I won't try this in Git bash because I already know it's going to be deleted. But then in Windows, it would be deleted. So using Git, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. But it's good. Some people like Git, some people like PowerShell. It depends with you. So still the same thing. If you want to clone, you just say git clone and then the link. And then the good thing with Windows PowerShell here, in Windows, you can't choose the commands Control C, Control V, Control that, and then if you want to paste, you just right click, you just left click, and it's going to be pasted. But then in Git, if you want to paste, when you left click, you'll get this page in this output here that says, do you want to paste, or do you want to select, or maybe do you want to save an image, or do you want to scroll, or do you want a full screen, things like this. But then in Windows, you won't get this if you left click. So it all depends with you, but still you are going to see the same thing. So if you install Git, make sure you get this color. And I think this is a blue color. Yeah, I think this is a green color. This is your username should have a green color. If it doesn't have a green color, it means it has not been installed carefully. So please make sure you get that.
Okay, and sorry. In the morning session, they were talking about when you open GD, you can set a username, password, and something like a default folder called main or something, whatever.
No. Actually, it's not a default. Okay, I know what you're talking about. So, can you just give me a minute and then we'll talk about that? You're not there
okay,
yet.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, sure.
The GD you are talking about, is it GitHub Desktop?
Yes.
Yeah, but then okay, I don't usually tell people to use GitHub Desktop. That's why you have not seen me touching anything on GitHub Desktop. Because if you're a beginner and you want to use GitHub Desktop, you're going to say it's hard, but it's not hard. Personally, I like using the terminal because I think it's faster. I use less commands compared to GitHub Desktop, because just imagine you're doing this on a daily basis and you're using GitHub Desktop. You're going to see that it's a lot of work.
Wait, what
Yes?
When you say Git Desktop, you mean like
graphics.
the one you have opened there right now, or what?
Okay, when I say desktop, all I mean is, let me show you. If I say GitHub Desktop, it means the same we usually open. I have an application here called CapCut, right?
Yes.
So for example, you have now GitHub Desktop is basically just like an app. So you just come here to the app, double click it, and then it opens. And then what we have done here using these commands, you do it now on the desktop version of it. So you see pictures instead of commands.
Oh.
Yeah. So personally, I think it's hard. I've never used it. So okay, I'm really obsessed with tech, but I've never used GitHub desktop, I won't lie, but then I know it's hard. Yeah, I've encountered it, I think, twice, or back when I was still in high school I tried it and I saw that it was somehow hard, so I've never used it again. But then in case you attended the session and you saw that it was good for you, but for us,
So
yeah,
for you, what would you recommend for a beginner?
use Git. Use the same thing you have done here. This session is recorded, so I'll send the link after we are done. So I think just use this thing we have done here. You're going to see that everything is easier to get the assignments, everything.
Okay.
You're going to see it's easier. But then if you decide to use GitHub desktop, you're going to maybe you'll offer some lessons for some of us, because I don't think I'll ever use that one. But that's on me. I'm not an expert, so in case you feel like the desktop version is good, use it. If you feel like this one is easier, use this one. So I think we'll just continue now, unless you still have something.
Okay, no, continue.
Okay, so now let us continue. So now we have already git added, it's git add, not git added. We have already git add all our files, we have already committed our file, and don't forget it's git commit and then now giving it the flag message. Don't forget about the message. Without the message it won't go, so don't forget about that one. And also we have put the message inside speech marks. If you don't use speech marks it won't also go, but then you can use single or double. I like using double so that I can use a single speech mark inside here. But then for those who learned a single speech mark, still an apostrophe still allowed, so you're the one who will decide there. But then make sure it's under those speech marks, make sure. And then finally, now after git adding, git committing, and then finally now to see it here, so now to see it here, you'll have to do one last thing, which is git push. So this command git push says just now take it from our computer or from my computer and paste it and take it to GitHub. So remove it from here and put it to GitHub. So you'll get something like this. So now let's come here and then refresh this. So after refreshing it, now you are going to see what? We are going to see our files. So we created a folder called before that we did this. So we have put, this is our commit message, this is the commit message. So every time you come to this repo and you press it on PLP2, if you come here, this is the first thing you'll see here, this message here. So maybe in case you are choosing whether to continue or you are still not sure, so you'll want to know, okay, before going into this repo itself, so what is this repo about? So that's where now the readme comes in. I know we have not talked about the readme, but we'll also talk about the readme. We'll talk about the readme also. To add the readme, some people add the readme usually from this here, but then personally I think adding it from VS is good. So now, so this is the commit message you have given. So the commit message was, this is our first class on an introduction to Git and GitHub. Don't worry about the files themselves. So it's here. Don't forget about that. Git commit and then a flag of M and then the message you want people to see every time they come here. Now we have created a new directory called week 1. So this is the directory we created, week 1. So if you come here, you can see there's a file called week 1, a folder called week 1. If you press on the file on the folder, you can see. So you can see, where is it? Yeah, we can see our files. So the first file was the index.css. Here it is, index.css. The second file was index.html and then index.js. So all of those files are here, index.css, .html, .javascript. All of them are here. And if you come here, so it's still here. Now let me tell you now the importance of now using this tool called Git and GitHub. So let's say maybe for example now my laptop, so maybe I was coming home from work and then I met some thieves at the road and they brought a gun and then they stole my laptop, and I was working on a project. come back home, I bought a new laptop. After 2 to 3 weeks, I bought a new laptop. So now I want to continue working. In case you are not using GitHub, Git and GitHub, you won't be able to get all your previous codes. So you'll have to start from scratch. But then, in case you're using Git and GitHub, you can just come clone your repo. So this is what we'll do. I want to delete this folder in my laptop here. So I want to, so let me close this first of all, and then so come back here. So now this is the folder itself. So I want to delete this folder. Let me delete it just like that. Let me delete it. So just give it a minute. So I've deleted that folder itself. So right now, even if I try to ls, so let me say if I list files and go, if I list files here, you won't see anything, you just see PLP1 only. So now I want my files back. So I bought a new laptop. So where will I get my files? So I'll just come here to GitHub and say, because these were my files, so I'll just clone that repo. The same thing we did. So I'll just come here and then come here, press this code, and then get this link. So copy this link, come back here on my terminal, cd to the place where I want it, and then just say git clone, and then press it, and then copy paste that link, and then press enter. So it's still, you'll see cloning into PLP2 again. And then now the same round, you can see it's not empty. So it's saying it's removing from remote to my to my folder. Okay, I can just say to my PC. So they're coming from the remote side, the GitHub. Now we are the library. So I'm taking now the code from the library now to my PC. So I'll clear this. So I'll ls, and then I'll cd into this. Let me clear again. So I'll cd into week 1 because I already know there's week 1. And also another thing, so as you can see, because okay, in Unix L still works as list files, but then in Windows it doesn't work. These are some of the advantages of using Ubuntu or Linux. So in Linux L still works, but then in Windows it's saying it's an error. So ls, so you see there's week 1. So I want to go into week 1, so it just says cd, and then if I just type the word, I know it's week 1, so you just say we, and then I type tab, it's going to be auto completed, and then clear, and then I'll open VS again. So let me open VS again, and then after opening VS again, and then I'll open still live server, so that now we can confirm that this is the code we had written. So let me open. Okay, it has still. It's when after installing the extension called live server, it surely comes somewhere here. So it's still not here. So just give it a minute. Yes. That's the HTML file. It's still not here. Yeah, index.html. Yeah, as you can see, it's here. So let me open that. So after installing the extension called live server, you are going to see it here. You are going to see something called go live here. So every time you want to start that, you'll come here and press it. After pressing it, the page is going to be opened in your default browser. So come here, and then because I know this is the default browser, so after refreshing this, let's just give it a minute. It's still the same thing. The same thing we did is the same thing that is here. So now that's the main advantage of using Git and GitHub. Yeah, so I don't know if I've left anything out. Let me see. No, I don't think I've left. Okay, I don't think I've left anything out. Maybe now in case you have a question, so I just open the floor to anybody who has a question. Just feel free.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me, Ahmed?
Yeah, you can hear you. Welcome.
Okay, sorry. For example, when you have open GT and you have put some command there, for instance, here in mine, I open GT and then I wrote GT configure -- global username. I just put my username, and then I went to put my email,
and then
and then
next one username, yes,
and then I put git configure -- list to see if it will give me the username and email I've just put. And then I tried something. I tried to clear what I've just wrote, and that is where the problem is. Because when I tried to clear, I wrote git clear, and then it tells me clear is not a git command.
Of course.
Like,
of course, that's why I was telling you, GitHub desktop is okay. It's not bad for a beginner. If you start with GitHub desktop and you understand it fully, then you're going to find it easier. But then I think you should just use GitHub, the terminal version of it. That's going to be better and easier, because what you're saying
the terminal version of it is.
Pardon, finish up.
Which one is the terminal version of it?
Just Git. Okay, this the one that we did here. So the one that for creating a command, the one for creating an account on GitHub, on github.com. So just go to github.com and create the account. After creating the account, yes, you already have the account.
Yes, now, I have an account there.
So have you already downloaded Git during the setup, the session in the morning and afternoon? Were you guys told to download Git?
Yes, I installed it.
Yes. Now after installing it, and then you are told to install GitHub desktop. Pardon, in case you're talking, we can't hear you.
I installed it. No. I installed it, and I installed it in the morning.
Still can't hear you. You're breaking.
Yeah. Sorry if there is a problem in it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, but then you're talking and then you're breaking.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Now you're audible. Yeah.
There is a problem with network. Okay, so for example, in the morning when I just tried to open it right now, like how you are showing there, like I just right click, I right clicked it, and then I just went to open git bash. So I just opened git bash, and I just wrote what I just told you there right now. And when I tried to clear, it didn't clear. It said clear is not a git command. So
okay, no. Actually, that's an error. That's an error. I think maybe there's something wrong with maybe you didn't set up. Okay, I think maybe were you here while you were setting up? I mentioned something about Git. While you're setting up Git, don't just say yes until the end. There's some certain things you're supposed to set up in a different way. While you are installing Git, did you just say yes until the end?
Yes, I just said yes.
No. Okay. There's an option for rebase. Did you see an option for git config and then an option for git rebase somewhere?
Along the way when I was saying yes, next.
Along the way while you're saying yes.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, there's an option for that. So you're supposed to choose that option, and then finally, while you are about to finish, there's an option saying, do you want to use the Git official terminal, or do you want to use this integrated in your PowerShell command prompt? So personally, I think you choose to use it in the Git bash default page, the default terminal. You choose that, right?
No, I didn't choose anything. Actually, it was it had a tick on the box there, and I untick it.
Yeah, now you are supposed to choose it. You are supposed to choose something there. It's only that I had already installed this Git. It was good that I installed it all over again. Let me do the okay. We'll do that. Yeah.
So I should uninstall this one, right?
Don't uninstall it. Just go back again and click on the installer and start installing all over again. Don't install it.
Oh.
Yeah, don't install it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 minute.
Okay, I think it's going to take some time. So while it's going, I think somebody else had a query. So because of time, I don't want this session to take so long. So yes, Brenda, feel free.
Okay, so I'm going to install it again. Okay, I've just opened it and I'm just I'm pressing next. Okay.
Yes.
and then next again.
Yes.
And then there is Vim editor. I'm just next.
Next.
Let Git decide or override the default branch name for the new repositories.
Let it decide.
Okay, next.
Next, what now?
Use Git from Git bash only, Git from the command line, and also from third-party software.
Use for the command line. Choose that option for the command line.
Okay, it is already there. Use bundled open SSH. Use external open SSH.
Use just open. Use the first one. The default one is the
The first one, the default one. Okay. Use the OpenSS library or use the native Windows Secure Channel library.
Use the first one.
The
use the default one.
The default one is use the OpenSS library.
Use that one.
Check out Windows style commit Unix. I can use the default one in this one either, right?
Is that the option that you'll see a Git rebase somewhere?
It is written check out Windows style commit Unix style line ends, and then
just
there is
no, just continue. Just choose the default option. Yes. So we still can't hear you. In case you're saying anything, you are broken.
There's another one written check out as in his the default
you are breaking.
one is the first one. Sorry for the network. Sorry for the network.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I can choose the default one.
Yeah, just choose the default one.
When I click next, it's when okay, I have chosen the default one, and the next one is use Meet TTY, the default terminal of here, or use Windows default console window.
Use Windows default.
I can choose the default one.
Yeah, use Windows default window. Use the Windows. Choose for the one for use Windows. Don't use the default one there.
Okay, I choose the window.
Yeah, use that one.
Okay.
Okay, so
you window, and then next ever fast forward homage rebase only ever fast forward.
Use rebase on that one.
The second one.
Yeah, use rebase on that one.
Rebase.
After that, use enter until the end.
And then Git credential manager.
Yes. Just choose those ones.
Enable fix. Okay. Okay, there is this one, enable experimental support for pseudo consoles or enable experimental built-in file system monitor.
Just use the default one, that one.
So do I have to tick?
No, just if you say enter, if you just continue next, the default one will just be choose. Yeah.
Okay, if right now I've reached the stage of if I press next, it is install.
Yeah.
I'll install.
No, install. Just install it.
Yeah. Install.
Yeah, now install it, and then now after install it, now you'll be using it on your default Windows. So after it's done, launch it. You'll get to see a page, launch it. Yeah. And then launch it.
I think I had a problem on the part of launching it.
Yeah, now after you're done, just launch it. So
okay, it is installing.
Yeah,
it is installing right now.
Okay.
Okay, anyone can continue. Okay, if there is anyone having any question.
I can see Brenda had a question. Okay, so Brenda can see. So hey Brenda. Hello, can see your hand is up, but then we can't hear you in case you're talking. Okay, I'll just assume it's the internet connection. Dennis, yes, Dennis.
Yes, Ahmed, thank you for this session.
Yeah, it's okay.
At least I can now understand a few things. But I'm a slow learner. I still need